Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol Ped. So you join me in the New Forest. I'm at Bewley once more, but behind me is a piece of Italian beauty. Behind me is an Alfa Giulia Quadrifoglio. I have wanted to drive this car since I saw it launch at Festival of Speed last year. And I've managed to be able to hook up with someone who's got one. We exchanged some messages. He's been so cool and said, let's come down, meet in the New Forest, and we'll take it out and you can experience the beauty of this car. It's a stunningly spec car. Let's take a really good look round it, and then we're going to take it for a drive across the forest in this beautiful weather. Hopefully it's not going to rain too much, but this should be really, really interesting. I'm going to get to drive my first Alfa Romeo.
The Giulia is the first rear-wheel drive car from Alfa Romeo in over 2 decades, and this is their first car in this segment since the 159 ended production in 2011. Quadrifoglio is Italian for 4-leaf clover. This car has a specific front bumper with larger air intakes and active aero carbon splitter. Combined with the rear diffuser, Alfa claim this car can generate up to 100 kilos of downforce at 300 kilometers an hour.
So here we are, guys, behind the wheel of the Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio, and there's a couple of things about this car. So as I said before, never driven an Alfa before. You get in the car and within literally moments you feel the steering and the pointiness of this car. It is probably the most pointy and direct saloon car I've ever sat in. It's amazing. And it's got a very short lock to lock, 2.5 turns lock to lock, so it's really, really pointy at the front end. And I'm literally just learning about the car and not driving very quickly at the moment. So at the moment we're in just a normal mode. There's basically 4 different drive modes in this car. There's a kind of economy mode that does cylinder shutdown when you're on the motorway. We've got normal mode and then dynamic, and then there's race mode. And as you can imagine, as you step up through dynamic and through race mode, nice things happen, like exhaust valves open and suspension stiffens up and throttle response sharpens. But I thought I'd just start in this normal mode, and so far it just has this feeling of stop driving me so slowly, get on with it and put me into a corner quickly. Really, really interesting feeling car.
The sport seats not only look great but provide comfort and support. The dash layout is clean and uncluttered, maybe not as dramatic as Alfas of the past. This example has plenty of leather, contrast red stitching and lots of carbon fibre. The driving controls are simply laid out, with the driver's cockpit inviting you to take a seat and get on with the job of driving fast.
It's very difficult to demonstrate to you the directness of this steering, but I'm going to try. I'm literally just going to... It's just unbelievable. I mean, you actually have to be really very wary of it. And I was just talking to Eddie, who's the very kind owner sat to my left. And this car's got pretty sticky tyres on it, and apparently the early models, when the temperatures weren't quite warm enough, it kind of got into a bit of sort of traction problems. But the traction is just unbelievable. So I am currently in, and I'm just very, very conscious of that curb.
Need to clear on this out, mate.
Yeah.
It's quite a short corner.
Yeah, I don't like curbing people's wheels, especially when they're that beautiful.
Yeah.
So I'm in normal automatic mode. I'm going to stick it into full manual box. So basically I can just push the gear selector to the left. I'm now in full manual box, and I have these most fantastic full length paddles. And now I've got a proper manual box. So if you just grab a paddle from auto, it will revert back to auto if you if you don't touch the gears and you slow down or whatever. In this, it will literally just hold the gears in whatever you've selected.
And bounce off a limiter as well.
And it will bounce off.
Yeah.
We'll try not to do that today.
It's got quite a short rev range, you'll notice. It doesn't
Yeah.
sound like it's getting to the top.
You see, you can just tell that's a very, very rumbly, ready to go engine. Super smooth gear changes. Really nice throw on the paddles as well. There's sometimes when you get these sort of flappy paddle boxes, it's almost just like a click. These have a really nice tactile feel to them when you change gear.
I feel like they're actually connected to the gears,
Yeah,
rather than just a solenoid.
oh, they're really, really nice. Ooh, that'll be a
Collision control.
collision avoidance of this
Yeah.
mountain biker. Now, the thing to note obviously about this car is all the power goes through the rear wheels, so it's a luckily we've got a nice dry day today, and I'm not going to be giving it the beans because one, it's not my car, two, I'm not driven it for very long, and three, I think Eddie, you'd probably kill me if I crashed it. We don't want to be doing that anyway. So, you know, we're just trying to sort of put it through its paces on the public road as much as we can. The interior of this car, I just think is absolutely beautiful to behold. Lovely kind of, this particular model's got really lovely red stitching on sort of black leather on the dash, carbon fibre everywhere.
Yep.
Selected lots of carbon fibre by the looks of
Most
it.
comes as standard. The extra bit was on the steering wheel.
Yeah, oh that bottom bit there is very
Yeah.
nice.
A lot of carbon in this car from the factory.
Yeah.
The all-aluminium 3-litre twin-turbo V6 was specifically developed for the Quadrifoglio and produces 510 PS and 600 Newton meters of torque. 0 to 60 is quoted as 3.9 seconds, and a lap time of the Nordschleife of 7 minutes and 39 seconds is impressive.
So we've put it in dynamic mode now, and the instant thing is when you change up a gear, it kind of surges into the new gear. It's oh my! This is a racing car in executive car clothing.
I'd agree.
Yeah. It really is. It's kind of not really wanting to be driven as a nice mooching saloon. It just wants to be thrashed within an inch of its life. And it is very, very fast. Wow. Yeah.
60 to 100, normally 4.1, that
Really?
sort of mark, yeah.
Oh, it covers the ground, that's for sure. So I was talking to Eddie beforehand. We're actually talking about the GTR and about how just biblically quick that was. We've got a few deers going across there. We're having all the wildlife being thrown at us today. And how amazingly fast that GTR was, but how almost easy it was to use. I mean, you know, my mum could get in that car and drive it quickly. Eddie was explaining about the reason he loves this car so much is it's kind of a bit more edgy than that, and you need a bit more driving skill. And in the short time I've been behind the wheel, I totally get that. It's got this most beautiful steering feel to it. Really, really beautiful. I can't think of a car that I've driven that feels that nice on the front end, apart from a 458 Ferrari, which is quite a thing to kind of...
I believe it was designed by the same man, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was.
Because the first corner I went into in the Ferrari, it just like, blimey, that front end's good. Oh man, it's very, very good. just have to drive this car in the manual box. It's just so tactile. It's really, really quick to change. And sometimes I feel with the semi-auto boxes, you kind of lose a bit of the connection with the car. It's almost like you're just driving a PlayStation or something. But not in this car. It really does. It's just a... Oh, it's lovely. It's very difficult to describe unless you're sat in the driver's seat. And it just makes the most fantastic noise as well. So we've got about 510 horsepower Italian horses chucking us along this bit of road. And it is a confidence-inspiring car in one respect, but you need to give it some respect as well, because you know if you get it wrong, you're going to have a really, really nasty accident. But I have to say, ponies again, my goodness me, they're everywhere today.
Hundreds of them.
I know. You really do have to give it some respect. But it just keeps pulling. It's quite frustrating driving it here today, because you know you need to get it on a track really to really feel that pull all the way. But even at slow speeds, the balance into corners, you just kind of plonk it down a gear, turn it in, and that front end is immense. Oh, wow. I didn't know what to expect of this car. You know, it's one of these cars I wanted to drive for a very long time. It's obviously pitched up against M3s and, you know, E63s and those types of, or sorry, C63s. And I have to say, it's certainly a match for them. It's really, really super. And you've had a C63 before?
Yep, had two of them.
Yeah.
Yep. And
which one would you have over this?
I wouldn't. Yeah, that's why I'm in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very much love at first sight when I drove this car.
Yeah.
Love at first drive even.
Yeah.
And it's quicker.
It certainly is quick.
It's bonkers.
It just pushes you in the back, doesn't it? Wow.
And my C63 was mapped as well.
Yeah.
Pushing 525, 530.
Yeah.
And as standard from the box, this car is nearly 2/10 quicker from 100 to 200 kilometers an hour.
Really?
Yeah, it's definitely a very, very good car.
It just sounds awesome, this car. I had to just bring this lovely set of bends. It's a really nice way to kind of just feel the car. Not really on the, you know, nowhere approaching its limit, but just that transfer of weight from side to side. It just gives you inklings about how good this car would be on the track. So the thing I'm loving about this car, and I've already said it, is just the steering feel and the kind of dynamics of driving the car are just amazing. And it wasn't what I expected at all. You know, you get in a car like this and you know it's going to be fast. It's got 500 horsepower. You know it's going to be a quick car. But even at 20 miles an hour driving out the car park, you just put a steering input in and the front end's like this. And the faster you go, the more engaged you become with a car, and you can just put it into a corner with such a great amount of confidence. It is phenomenal. So guys, that brings me to the end of this very memorable morning behind the wheel of my first Alfa Romeo. I think it was the Top Gear boys, wasn't it, said that you can't be a true petrol head until you've owned an Alfa Romeo. And I will put my hand up and say that means I am not a true petrol head because I've never owned one. Interestingly, Mrs. Petrol Head had one of her very first cars was an Alfa Romeo GTV6, which is quite impressive. Anyway, from my impressions of this car are, it's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. I think the interior is really nicely laid out. These seats are very comfortable. All the information in front of me is just really to kind of easy to absorb. The gear shifters are a work of art. They're huge, but they're attached to the steering column, so they don't move with the steering wheel. But it's the feel you get when you change gear with them. I just think it's stunning. It really is. You just drive around changing gear as much as you possibly could. The steering feel, the sharpness of that steering, as I said before, you just kind of do that, and the last car that I felt like that was either a Ferrari or a Caterham. It's phenomenal that you can get that in a saloon car. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the review. I have to have a huge big thank you to Eddie, who sat in the seat next to me. You've probably heard him a couple of times. I'll get you on camera if you like, mate, but
That's all right.
he didn't want to be on camera, which is
I'm
fine.
the bloke on the left.
He's the bloke on the left. So a massive thank you to him. It's a huge privilege for me to be able to drive cars like this, and for the trust these guys put in me, letting me drive them. Hopefully I repay that with respect for the car. But I couldn't do these things without the support of guys like you. So thank you very much for that, mate.
Okay.
I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have done so, give me a thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Petrol for plenty more content to come. And I will see you on the next film. So you take care, guys. Drive safe.